success, aren't they? KTM have got so many good riders, got a number of places to slot them into. Pedro Acosta will be in a position now where he'll be thinking, well, what more have I got to learn by sticking around in Moto2 for another season? And do KTM dare risk losing him to another manufacturer? Because if you let Pedro Acosta go elsewhere, you're going to be strengthening one of your competition.
Going to be racing in Moto2 here in Germany. Tony Arbolino sweeps the right-hand side of the circuit. He's going to get the drop here on poleman Pedro Acosta. So Tony Arbolino nails the start. Is he going to run it a little bit wide? No, he's not. Connect tries to go around the outside. The drama further back. I don't know if that's Darren Binder or Lucas Tulovic in their home Grand Prix. There's arms out. I think it might be Binder.
And Schneider down with him as well. So that's two Grand Prix in a row where Darren Binder's gone out of the very first corner. Tulovic has gone for the first sector in 17. So it is Darren Binder that is down.
It was the dream start then by Tony Arbolino. As we mentioned before, he's been so good. He's so good at launching that Triumph 765cc motor off the line. He's fantastic at judging the lights, and he's normally so aggressive in these first laps as well. What can he do now? He's got the drop on Acosta early on here. Binder and Schneider, as Lewis said, out at the first corner. More disappointment for the South African.
Pretty sure there was a Cressini bike involved in that as well. We'll get another look at that to see what happened, but there was someone on the inside of them into turn one who knocked them both off. On board then with Arbolino leading Acosta down the hill through the Ralph Walmer curve as they plunge down towards turn 12. There is nothing to choose between them already. Is Acosta going to attack immediately? Through he comes.
First time in the braking zone for that downhill sweep into turn 12, and Acosta has gone for it then. Arbolino's trip at the front of this Grand Prix lasted for what, just 11 corners. Poleman Pedro Acosta then hits the front. He'll lead them over the line, over the crest to this short one to the finish line. Acosta, Arbolino, Dixon, the front row men actually were over the line at the end of that first lap. Lopez has picked up a couple of places. Fifth to fourth for him. Chantra's on the move as well.
Lopez is trying to get another one here from Jake Dixon. We know how aggressive Lopez is in the early stages of Grand Prix, and he goes through on Jake Dixon. Sam Rosenstein, they had a pretty good start from the back of the second row, but Somkiat Chantra was super late on the brakes there into turn one, which cost him a place. Dixon loses another one now. Darren Connect, this is just what Jake Dixon feared. Losing early ground in this Grand Prix and not in a position to use that late race pace he's got.
We talked about this, didn't he, after the race in Mugello last weekend when he was at third behind Acosta and Arbolino, saying at the moment he's just not fast enough. He can't get into his speed and rhythm quickly enough to go with the lead grip. He's got, as Lewis mentioned, great late race pace, but it all comes too little too late, giving himself a big mountain to climb in. And let's try and find out what happened further down the field. It looked like Binder popped a big wheel there, didn't it, as he launched off the line, although that might be his teammate Lucas Tulovic. There is Binder then around the outside. We're going to see him circle very shortly.
It's Alcoba look at the inside. He comes into the side of Schneider, and once again Darren Binder minding his own business on the outside and gets taken out.
One of the Italtrans racing boys as well was caught up in a bit of early drama. So Darren Binder, pure bad luck on his outside, wasn't it? One of the American racing team boys, I think, as well, was involved in a bit of an early skirmish. Nothing that Schneider knew about that. He got absolutely walloped, didn't he, by Alcoba's aggression. And then the innocent victim on the outside, the domino effect, the knock-on effect. Poor old Darren Binder trying to get some dry race experience under his belt. He's out at the first corner for the second race in a row. Now then, Acosta and Arbolino trying to get their head down and try and put some daylight between the chasing pack. Acosta just at the fastest lap of the race, 1:23.762. Acosta and Arbolino at the moment, the only two men in the 1:23s.
Change for third. We saw that wide line from Alonso Lopez. They do like to take kind of wider sweeping lines, don't they, on those Bosque Scorers, but it left the door wide open for Connect through the overgo. So Connect up into third place. Dixon is behind them in fifth. Chantra maintains sixth, and Sam Lowe's is also having a tricky start to this Grand Prix. He's just lost 7 to Manuel Gonzalez, and Vietti's through on him as well.
Already, this may be a key break being made here by Acosta and Arbolino, because through the second sector, having got through on Lopez, through the Omega corner, Connect finds himself nearly a second already adrift of this man, Tony Arbolino. There is a long lap penalty coming the way of Jeremy Alcoba after he went full skittles into that first corner. Alcoba, then you can see it on your screens there, he'll get the dashboard message as well. He has to come through the new long lap penalty, now located right here at the top of the final corner. You can just see there on the outside as Acosta and Arbolino sweep through the Queckenberg corner. Let's just check what the gap is then between Acosta and Arbolino. Acosta again, that's successive best laps of the race for him. It's a 1:23.673. And Connect struggling with this early pace. He's 1.1 seconds behind Arbolino at the start of that ball.
Clearly Acosta wanted to lead. The fact that he attacked so early in the race and got past Arbolino at the end of the first lap, he clearly felt he had the pace to set the pace at the front rather than follow. Of course, he's tried to follow Arbolino in the bottom and crashed out a bit, but Arbolino is going with him at this stage. Just a few hundredths of a second between them on that last lap, but as you say, Matt, at the moment it is a two-horse race at the front of this Grand Prix. They're the only two riders in the 123s.
Two-horse race in the championship and a two-horse race in the German Grand Prix as it stands right now. There's an awful long way to go here. We're only on lap 4 of 25 tired punishing laps. It's all about the management, particularly on the left-hand side. This is the move. Well, this is Dixon and Lopez, isn't it? On the run into that very tricky first braking zone. Dixon got that one done in that battle for third place.
Dixon returning the favour from a lap earlier when Alonso Lopez had gone through on him, but that's a little bit of a gap, isn't it? So far on this lap, Pedro Acosta has put 0.4 of a second into Tony Arbolino. He's asking big questions of the World Championship leader.
Yeah, Arbolino on this lap number 4 has not had the pace, the blistering speed of Acosta directly ahead of him. There is Dixon then, already opening up half a dozen bike lengths back to Lopez. That's in 4th place. So Acosta still in those high 123s. He is now the only man in these hot conditions here early on at the Sachsenring that can keep himself in those 123s. Nearly half a second clear of Arbolino he was on that lap number 4. Canet still 3rd. He's now going to try and keep Dixon at bay, having got through on Lopez.
The Alpine VDS team already giving Arbolino the information of what kind of a gap he's got behind him back to Canet. It was around 1.3 seconds as they came through the first sector of this lap. Lopez then on his way to the medical centre. He had a pretty nasty landing, didn't he, when he got launched up into the air with that first corner collision. But already at this stage of the race, if that gap continues to grow between Acosta and Arbolino, is Arbolino already going to go into championship lead conservation mode? It's a 20-point lead at the moment. He doesn't want to lose 5 points if he can help it to Pedro Acosta, but he doesn't appear to have the pace of the race leader at this stage.
Fingers crossed for Bo Bainshire, of course, a massive home Grand Prix for him next weekend at the Dutch TT in Assen. Not the way he would have wanted to have tracked for that big race next weekend, having been absolutely cleaned out innocently in that first corner melee instigated by Alcoba, who will have the long lap penalty. In fact, he has complete that long lap, has Alcoba. That's going to be interesting, isn't it, to check this gap then now between Acosta and Arbolino. It was a one-man demolition job by Acosta 7 days ago in Mugello, and he's setting himself up for another one, a repeat here in the German Grand Prix. Yellow flags are out in sector 4. So Lucas Tulovic, who's crashed out seconds after he got a track limits forward, and there was confirmation on your screens then. So a holiday for the Lippi Moly intact team in their home Grand Prix, who's been neglected at the first corner. Now Tulovic down and out of this Grand Prix. The gap between Acosta and Arbolino was stretched out for the first time to over a second at the start of this lap 6, and once again cutting a pace that nobody else can handle. It's Acosta still in those 123s. He's not as yet dipped back into 124 like everybody else has in this field.
It's a big train behind him in Duo, being led by Canet at the moment. He's got 6/10 of a second advantage over Dixon, who's lapping in the low 24s. Then behind them is Lopez. Chantra holds 6th, which he took at the very first corner of the race. Then Gonzalez and Celestino Vietti through on Sam Lowe's. Vietti had podium pace last weekend. He just got delayed at the start by that three-rider collision into San Donato. So Vietti's another rider to expect to keep an eye on. He always gets stronger as the race goes on.
The flags are out, then still in that 4th sector as Acosta sweeps and climbs up towards this tricky turn 13. You're trail braking in here, it's easy to just have that front end tuck out from underneath you. Pedro Acosta, he's going to find yet another 121. I know for the first time it's taken 6 laps for him to dip into the 124s, only just a 124.1. But he just finds another vital 10th or so on Arbolino. Second place, Canet's gone down, and he hobbles away, battered and bruised, isn't he? It's been a tough year for Aaron Canet in the Moto2 World Championship. He was fighting then for the podium, but it's another mistake from Canet up the hill, isn't it, into the final corner. What were we just saying about how difficult trail braking up the hill into that left-hander here, and Canet confirms as he goes down, bites the dust again, doesn't he, the 23-year-old Spaniard. And you've got to say that's a body blow for his championship.
Second DNF in 3 races now for Aaron Canet. He already came into this race 54 points behind Tony Arbolino. That's going to grow still further, isn't it, for Aaron Canet, unfortunately. So that throws Jake Dixon up into the podium positions. He's not quite living up to his pre-race fighting talk of being able to muscle in on the battle between Acosta and Arbolino, but at the moment he is quite comfortably the best of the rest. He's got the measure of Alonso Lopez through the 3rd sector. He's 8/10 of a second clear, and if anything, Lopez, rather than looking ahead of him, he's got bother coming from Somkiat Chantra, who's running in 5th place as Lopez goes wide through 12th.
Last weekend's Italian Grand Prix result, Acosta, Arbolino, Dixon. German Grand Prix front row, Acosta, Arbolino, Dixon. German Grand Prix podium as it stands right now with Connect out, Acosta, Arbolino, Dixon. Bit of a repeating theme, isn't there, right now, this Moto2 World Challenge, as Dixon remains on course for yet another third place. It could be a ninth in his Moto2 career. We look back at Chantra, Lopez again running that slightly wider sweeping line, as he often does on that Bosca scorer. Just thought there maybe Chantra might just try and pinch the inside line, but there's no way through. That's the battle at the moment with Connect's exit for fourth spot.
Flagged up Chelsea and Vietti a moment ago. He's now through on Gonzalez, up into what is now sixth place with Connect crashing up ahead of them. So Chelsea and Vietti could well be a threat, particularly in this battle that we're watching here between Lopez and Chantra. There you can see Vietti on the Fantin Calex just at the back of the picture. Gonzalez and Lowe's just up behind them. Looking further ahead, the fastest rider of the leading three was actually Dixon on that lap. He was a couple of tenths quicker than Arbolino, a tenth quicker than Acosta. The problem for Dixon is he's got just under 2 seconds to try and make up, to try and join the World Championship leader.
He's already taken 2 tenths out of Arbolino through the first half of this tight 3.6 kilometre Sachsenring circuit. Chantra at the moment well on course for a season best result for him on the Team Asia machine. The woes go on for his recovering teammate Aldeguer, who of course going into this season we'd expected him to be right in the thick of that championship battle with Pedro Acosta and Tony Arbolino, but just weeks before the first Grand Prix, serious wrist injury really has completely wrecked Agura's hopes of being involved in that title fight. He's got it circulating down in 14th place. Chantra then, he's alongside Alonso Lopez. They top it out on the brakes, and Lopez wasn't giving him that one without a big fight, wasn't he? Chantra though hugged the inside line, just eased upon the inside, nothing that Lopez could do about it. And Somkiat Chantra, as he mentioned, well of course for that season best. He is now in 4th place, and what can he do now to hone in, reel in Dixon?
The elastic rider snapped at the front. Last lap, Pedro Acosta was nearly 4 tenths of a second quicker than Tony Arbolino. Lead is out to 1.6 seconds. Acosta is asking all the questions of the championship leader at the moment. Arbolino doesn't seem to have any answers.
Yeah, Pedro Acosta, of course, was second here 1 year ago to his teammate Augusto Fernandez, who went on to win the Moto2 World Championship. And then just days afterwards, well, was it the very next day? He suffered that real serious fractured femur in a motocross training accident before we came to the Dutch TT, and that's 1 week later. I think there's going to be a ban on any off-road motorcycles for Pedro Acosta before we head to the Netherlands next weekend. This is the battle then between Vietti and the very distinctive VR46 Mastercamp machine delivery of Manu Gonzalez. Gonzalez in this battle for 6th place right now. Vietti was getting a big shake there as he got the gas on coming out of that turn number 12. There's no way through for Gonzalez though at the back end of this lap number 9. Lap number 9 that's already been completed by Pedro Acosta. 2.2 seconds now is advantage over Arbolino, and on that lap he took another half a second, 6 tenths out of the Italian. This looks like it is game over in terms of the victory battle.
Yeah, the key point though, as you said a moment ago, it might be Arbolino and Dixon. Dixon took 3 tenths of a second out of Arbolino on that last lap. There is still a long way to go as Ethan Guevara goes down, teammate to Dixon in the Aspar team. He's gone down at the final corner, same place that we lost Aaron Canet, but so many laps still to go, 15 laps remaining, so that second place is by no means safe for Arbolino yet.
Yeah, what a difference a year makes. This man ran right here at the Sachsenring 1 year ago, didn't he, Ethan Guevara, to utterly dominate the Moto3 battle. It has been a very tough transition up to the heavier, more powerful Triumph 765cc motor and the Calex chassis in Moto2, as for Ethan Guevara. Another disappointing afternoon in the Sachsenring sunshine then for him. Here is then your runaway, our race leader, just like it was 7 days ago in Mugello. When this guy gets to the front, he's got clear track in front of him. You don't very often see him blunder, you don't very often see him flop his lines, do you? Aside maybe from the French Grand Prix in Le Mans last year, which was a big learning experience in that rookie season for Acosta last year. Still a long, long way to go though, but he's already in that phase of the race where time management will be at the forefront of his mind, and in particular, just keep your focus, just keep your concentration, don't take any unnecessary risks. You've worked hard to get that 2.5 second buffer back to Arbolino, hit your braking markers, and just keep everything steady and under control. And there's another valuable 25 points right there for the taking for the Spaniard.
Arbolino's got problems here. Pedro Acosta might well be the biggest Jim Dixon fan at the Sachsenring this afternoon, because yet again Dixon was able to pull a couple of tenths back on Tony Arbolino. The Martinez team will surely be alerting Arbolino to that. They'll be keeping you updated on the gap back to Dixon. That's 3 or 4 consecutive laps now where the British rider has been quicker than Arbolino. That gap now is hovering at just over a second and a quarter.
Chantra's quickly dispensed of Lopez once he found a way through a couple laps ago in that first corner. To credit to the Honda Team Asia man, already about half a second clear of the Bosca score, Amanda directly behind him. A little bit further back is this trio, led by 2 of 25, 4 to go. And just look at this metronomic consistency. We used to see this, aren't we, from the likes of Hoy Lorenzo back in the day. Pekka Bagnaia in the current MotoGP pack. Look at that, just. It took him to lap 6 to get in the 124s, briefly in the 125s a couple of laps ago on lap 20. Other than that, it has been a masterclass, an exhibition once again by number 37, Pedro Acosta. What do KTM do with this young man? June the 30th, the end of this month, is when KTM have to exercise an option and decide what destination will be for Acosta in 2024. Will they pull the trigger? Will they, you think, rather harshly maybe move out Augusto Fernandez from the Gas Tech 3 team to slot their future superstar, the genius in the making, this man Pedro Acosta? That's all going to unfold. Big decisions coming the way of the man in the middle of the picture there with the glasses. Pit Byra, KTM Motorsport Director. Really a luxury position to be in for KTM, but a tricky one because of course they've got 4 very accomplished and fast riders already on those coveted seats in MotoGP next season. But Pedro Acosta has made it crystal clear, no bones about it, he wants one of them next season.
Almost a victim of their own success, aren't they, KTM? They've got so many good riders, got enough places to slot them into. Pedro Acosta will be at a position now where he'll be thinking, well, what more have I got to learn by sticking around in Moto2 for another season? And do KTM dare risk losing him to another manufacturer? Because if you let Pedro Acosta go elsewhere, you're going to be strengthening one of your competition as far as Acosta's competition is concerned. Jim Dixon might well still be about to do him a favour. On that last lap, Dixon was the fastest rider on circuit. He did a 24.7 last time around, did Dixon. Closed that gap back down to under 0.4 of a second. Arbolino is not out of the woods yet.
He's not going to want to lose 9 points, is he, to Acosta? Again, Dixon is getting that Cadillac chassis moving around. The Dunlop tyres are starting to squirm underneath these guys, aren't they, now? As we go on to lap number 23, into turn number 12 we go. And Jake Dixon has found 2 tenths already in this third split where he's been so strong. He powers up the hill then now, and it's surely going to be just a matter of time before he starts to attack Tony Arbolino. He may well be going for it now. Is he going to pick up some slipstream down this short 700-metre start finish straight? Look how defensive Arbolino's going there. He's seen on the pit board. He'll hear Dixon coming, and he was just hugging the middle of the circuit there, wasn't he? Making sure that Dixon can't get alongside him, take the inside line and squeeze on through.
Arbolino desperately trying to keep that front wheel on the floor as he came out of turn 13. Dixon nearly pulled up alongside him. We're about to find out just how badly Tony Arbolino wants these 4 extra points, because if Jake Dixon sends one on the inside, what does Arbolino do? Does he go wheel to wheel with Jake Dixon and risk an accident, or just take the 16 points? Those will be the question marks, the debates, the decisions that will be going through the head of the World Championship leader right now.
It's coming, it is coming. Look at Dixon, look at the corner speed, the superior corner speed he has through that 4th gear, turn number 7. Again, now this is where Dixon has been imperious in this battle with Arbolino. This is where Dixon has really got the speed. He lights up that Dunlop rear tyre coming through turn number 10. They drop down through 11 now. Here's Dixon lining up the move on the brakes into turn number 12. Tony Arbolino is going to have to be so late, pushing that front tyre as hard as he dares into turn number 12. He does resist, he does stamp up. They both run really wide. Pedro Acosta is about to start his final lap of this German Grand Prix, but it is all about the battle raging for second place. There are vital World Championship points up here for grabs. Arbolino it is that takes the penultimate lap, second place.
Arbolino won't want to do that in the final lap, because he could get a 1-position penalty, of course, and lose that second place to Dixon. He's managed to fend him off into turn 1. Dixon so much quicker through the left-handers in the infield section of this circuit, but there's no real obvious overtaking place through there. He's got to try and follow him through those lefts, drop down the hill and attack it to 12 and 13.
Yeah, you do feel that Dixon is going to, at the back of his mind, know that he's got to be close enough through that third sector. Arbolino is excellent in the first split. That's where he's just able to eke out those sort of 4 or 5 bike lengths just to give himself that buffer. Here's Dixon though, this was where he was superior last time around. It's a turn 7 again, isn't it? 7 and 8 is where Dixon is so good. There goes your race leader Acosta, sweeping up towards turn 10. Building and building speed here though is Dixon. Surely it's coming 12 or 13.
How bold will he feel he needs to be? How much will Tony Arbolino fight this? Down the hill they go. Will Arbolino take a defensive line? He doesn't have to at this stage as Dixon looks for the inside line. He's not close enough through there. Arbolino shuts the door.
There's going to be one corner left then for Dixon. 4 really important World Championship points at stake. You can see there Pedro Acosta is sweeping through the final corner. Arbolino's got this one covered. Brilliant by him. But Pedro Acosta, it's a Sachsenring stunner for the Red Bull King.